is muted. Nope, it's not. There we go. Hey, everybody. We're good.
We're back.
We're back. Hi, friends. And I did the thing again. I did not log into the stream. Hi, everybody. Yeah, just the founder interact thing. So how's everybody doing? We switched our category on Twitch because, we want to make sure our friends can find us again. So if you're just joining us, welcome aboard. But this is episode 7 of where's Turn Soonest to the Sun? Sorry, I was getting this things logged in. So episode 7 of Turn Soonest to the Sun, and we are out a Sarah today. Aww. Sarah's hopefully Sarah's watching from the car or something. That'd be awesome.
She probably would.
Sarah probably is watching from the car. Yay, Josh, subbing for 24 months. 2 years sub anniversary. Yeah, so we'll do a quick round of intro since we're running a little bit behind today, but we're getting excited for some super exciting news for some players. So we're just going to let that lid sit on that until it's time. But we're all very excited to be here, and we'll start introduction with Josh.
Hey everybody, my name's Josh. I play Rio, the elf inventor.
And Nate.
Hi, I'm Nate. I play Cypher, the human psychic.
And on deck for Sarah is roll a d4. Who's gonna be Sarah today?
Who's gonna be
Nate.
Fuck,
Nate's gonna be Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I play Viola, the dark elf not inventor, investigator.
You got it.
There you go.
Playing her? I don't know how to play her.
No, you're not playing her.
Okay. I was like,
You just being her for the intro. And Zach.
Hi everyone, I'm Zach. I play Greeble, the fungus leshy druid.
And last but not least, Maddie.
I'm Maddie. I play the Strix Laughing Shadow Magus.
All right, and I am Ben, the DM, and I play all the voices in my head, and Corin, the Strix half-elf oracle and twin to Aaron.
Yep.
Oh boy. So last time we left off in the Twilight Woods of Braithalin, the Feywild, after we reunited with Greeble in the Silent Grove of the Hollow Bloom, we set off on kind of a winding path towards the Mistwood Masquerade, a place of masks, memory, and wagers more dangerous than blades. In a hidden cave of broken music, we met the Silent Soul, Sillet's fractured apprentice, with no name, just an apprentice of a being known as Sillet. And through echoes and rhythm, we helped them remember the original verse of the Masquerade's anthem, a lyric that hints that Laruvian, the host, is more prisoner than king. And then came the Mask Eater's Glade. There we ran into a faceless child that cried for help, and the Mask Eater arrived cloaked in thorns and broken mask, hungry for identity. A brutal fight. It was a knockdown fight. Viola got whooped early, got double crit, and went down hard. But strength held, and together we shattered the Mask Eater and protected the child, earning a dream mask and one more thread of Bernard's truth. We then continued, and each of these paths was something that was chosen subconsciously as Braithalin itself seemed to reach out to our minds, and we found just this image of ourselves at a crossroads thinking about which path we would like the most, and it seemed that one opened for us, and that individual led us to the next challenge. Leading to the next challenge, we found a bleeding effigy weeping with amber sap and rooted in memory, and we witnessed the moment Bernard fell, a defiant refusal to wear the role that the Masquerade gave him, a mask shattered, and then Vastrel's final strike. For our bravery, the Grove marked us with a mask of refusal. It was a symbol that we could challenge the Masquerade's very rules with. And then finally we climbed into the Spinner's Perch, where a mask weaver named Elritha spun secrets into silk.
tangled.
Yep. And in exchange for something dear, she gifted us with a powerful thread, a memory thread, proof that Vestrel the Thorn Jester once vowed to never show Bernard mercy, a vow forgotten in time, but still binding. And now we stand at the Grove's threshold. Masks await on pedestals. The revel begins, and the Masquerade is watching. So before us, as we kind of stand in this translucent liminal space between forest groves, these masks float on pedestals of sunlight. One for each of us, and each of you seem to be called by a specific mask. As if it was, oh, this is all, God, that gave me the Junji Ito creeps. As if this was my mask, it was made for me. Like, those comics used to creep me out so much. But yeah, I got the very chilling Junji Ito. I wasn't expecting to have that. The mask was made for me. Oh no, but they were. They were.
You said they're like laid out on pedestals.
They're kind of floating and just like they look like they're on pedestals of like almost solid light, and they're just sitting there. You see kind of like straps and stuff that hold them down, but they just look like little masks. There's a bunch of different ones. But the one that calls to you, I can describe it if you want to approach it, or if you want to kind of go over and look at all of them.
I was just wondering if there's like more than just the, like, there's what, 5, 6 of us? Yeah, 6. There's more than just the 6 laid out, right? But like one specifically calls to us.
There are just the 6 that appear here.
Okay. That was my question.
So,
yeah, I guess,
do we want to know them all, or do you want to approach the one that calls to you?
I'm gonna vibe it. I'm just gonna approach the one that seems to speak to me.
The Cypher approaches first. You see a mask, and you know its name when you approach it. The Painted Mirror. It's a reflective mask polished into a high sheen, showing others their own face, but subtly warped. And beneath it, soft shifting pigments swirl across it like oils dancing on top of a broken piece of glass. Do you put it on, or are you just going to take a look at it at first?
I'm gonna look at it, and can I do a thing? I would like to read the psychometric resonance on it.
Okay, you haven't done that yet. I gotta go remember what that does.
With a touch, you can read the psychic impressions left on objects by their previous owners. This exploration activity functions similarly to detect magic in that you move at half your speed, but we're not moving. Just brushing your bare hands over any objects while you do this. This detects objects with significant emotional resonance attached to them.
Absolutely.
Such as joy from a child's blah, 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 blah.
Heck yeah, go for it. I am down.
Cool.
So as you know a little about the Mistwood Masquerade, you know that there's a hierarchy of individuals that are all a part of this now. Everybody serves a role there, and everybody is guests. There are a group of people known as the Maskerites. They're crafters that bestow identity, memory, and magic power, and they enforce the mask laws. When you read the psychometric resonance of this, you get the impression of someone learning you and figuring out the role you will play. And you get the impression that nobody's owned this before. This was handcrafted for you. And they watched as you traveled Braithalen and discovered who you were.
Okay, so they've been watching us. Okay, cool. Then yeah, I'll put it on.
So you put the mask on, and everybody else watches this slight transformation. As I need to go unlock your page. So on your character page in Legend Keeper, there will be a new tab called the Mask You Wear that will be unhidden, and you become your new role, the Mirror of Consequence. Cypher undergoes this transformation that you see that Cypher now appears differently to each of you. Their features now reflecting your fears or regrets. Cypher, your footsteps make no sounds, but your thoughts echo faintly in the minds of nearby guests. Your role, the Mirror of Consequence, is you are expected to reflect back the audience's misdeeds or misgivings, and you do not speak yourself. You only echo what others have said in private. Your internal world becomes a stage for other people's projections, almost erasing your selfhood in favor of this forced reflection.
Okay,
But
how do I know what they've said in private out of character?
with that, there are I'll provide that to you, but you basically are going to be observing people. You're an observer and you reflect back, and they see it just by observing you. But there are some features that you get to use this with. Each of these comes with boons and drawbacks. So Cypher, as we move into the Mistwood Masquerade, we'll be playing this out in just large phases. So 10 to 15 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes, hours will pass as you are each taking actions during a phase to learn more about the Masquerade. And you can learn in different ways. Unfortunately, Cypher's not expected to speak anymore.
Okay.
So guests will treat Cypher as a mirror. That's Cypher's drawback. They rarely speak to Cypher directly, instead referring to themselves. So if you use diplomacy, it does suffer a -1 check unless you engage it through a third party. If you have another person standing there working, your social boon, you do get sense, motive, and perceptions, get a +2 bonus while you're listening to people talking, and you can guests will project their fears in your presence. And then once per phase, you can reflect a guest's internal self-regret or a self-lie. And if you repeat the words back to them exactly, the guest has to make a real will save, or they will involuntarily reveal a truth that they know inside the Masquerade. And these people all know rumors and stuff about each other. There's like 30 of them for you guys to discover as you search out the Masquerade to learn things. During phase, oh, that is not supposed to be listed for you. Oops, just ignore that last one for phase 4 because that's a GM note that I accidentally copied in there. My bad.
Oh, okay.
It's something that happens in phase 4 specifically for you.
I saw nothing.
So you all watch this change as Cypher then vanishes after you all get a look at them. Cypher vanishes from your guys' sight and is apparently brought into the Masquerade. And we'll get to Cypher in a bit. Who else is next? Oh, well, we'll have Viola go next since she's not here. So Viola's mask looks like help. Viola's mask, she knows the name, the blossom-faced fool. A porcelain mask shaped like a blooming flower with lips permanently parted in laughter, painted brush spirals curl across the cheek, and thin golden petals fan out like a sunburst. When Viola puts it on, her clothing becomes exaggerated. Mismatched patterns, wide sleeves, overlong buttons, and her voice develops an involuntary lilt. She smells faintly of honey and smoke. And she becomes the comic relief who knows too much. Viola is expected as her role to play dumb, laugh loudly, and to be ignored, but always watching. She is told as she puts the mask on, only the fool may speak the truth aloud. And she's now forced to obscure her sharp mind behind this forced mirth, struggling with being seen as a joke even as she uncovers these dangerous truths. She gains bonuses to perception and performance and attempting to extracting information through humor, misdirection, and playing the fool. And then once per phase, she can ask a question aloud and receive a whispered answer from a courtier pretending not to hear her. But she does suffer the drawback to diplomacy because she can't be taken seriously, and nobles will laugh and wear her off or wave her off. Yeah, basically. Sorry, I got a note on the side. Yeah. Wanted to see what Sarah would do with that role, so I gave it to her.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. Sarah, come back.
So sad Sarah's on vacation.
Sarah, come back.
All right, who's next?
I'll go next.
All right,
Okay.
Rio. Just Greeble doesn't want to. And then
No, I don't want to.
as the same before, as soon as the mask is on, Viola vanishes from you guys. Rio. Gotta find it. There we go. Your mask again, known to you. The Porcelain Air is the name of the mask. A pristine, full-faced mask painted in a delicate ceramic blue and white, as though from noble ceramic tea sets. Cracks run through the cheeks, but they're gilded in gold, as this has been reset once broken. thinking about it at all, or just popping it on?
Pop it on.
All right. Your clothing becomes elegant and antiquated, an aristocratic figure of a forgotten age. Your hands tremble slightly as if afraid to break. Every movement is expected to be graceful and practiced. You become the heir who has forgotten their inheritance. You are expected... I'm unlocking yours now, sorry. I'm just unlocking everybody's... Sorry, unlocking the people who've put theirs on so far. Right. 1 second. And this again is on Legend Keeper. If you guys jump over there, you'll be able to see what it is. So Rio, you are expected to host, to feign importance, and carry a name that you no longer remember. Guests will speak to you as if you're someone else, a noble who disappeared a long time ago. You know, someone like you who's grounded in intellect, in creation. You're now burdened with that role of legacy, status, and imagined expectation, and forced to fake grandeur over truth. The benefits you gain, though, as a social benefit, you gain a +1 status effect to impress or request actions while in conversations with nobles and servants. They believe you to be of a forgotten lineage, so you can request things from them and you'll get a bonus as if you hold higher reputation with them. Once per phase, you can speak a royal truth, asserting knowledge of courtly matters, and on a success, the court will treat your word as law for social interaction. And that's going to be just any check that, so if it's, for example, just like if someone's talking about machinery and you use a crafting check, for example, they'll assert that as truth. And then the drawback here is that every time you fail a social check, your body becomes briefly fragile. You'll take a stacking -1 to your AC per round in your next combat, or until you leave the Mistwood Masquerade in that specific region you're hanging out in.
Yikes.
Really?
I need just a second. My dogs are going apeshit. So
Oh no.
give me just a hot second, guys. I gotta call them inside.
The Borks are Borkin.
Puts me in the bog.
Gonna go great.
I had a
Yeah,
bad
nothing like
feeling about
losing
this.
AC if I fail.
I am not. I'm trying to think of like what mine is gonna be, and I've got a bad feeling about it.
Why, you got secrets? What you got?
Zach, you have a bad feeling? I have been audibly warned to not cry.
Fair. Listen. It's
overtly said, "Hey, sorry about this."
Hey, not that bad.
preemptively told you're gonna have a bad time.
This is gonna sting.
So Corin will go next, since Greeble and Aaron are both afraid, obviously. Corin's mask, the Laughing Thorn, is a half mask made of twisted briars painted rose gold with a permanent smiling expression carved across the mouth. Every time Corin laughs while wearing it, thorns seem to bloom. And once he puts it on, his once gentle demeanor becomes dazzlingly intense. His hair takes on deep red tones, and his laughter, no matter how he feels, becomes the mask's echoing cackle. He becomes the one who rejoices in pain. He's expected to celebrate misfortune, post toasts to other people's sorrow, and delight in irony. And he sees the future but laughs at it, whether cruelly or cathartically. So he now must confront this empathy being twisted into spectacle, his wisdom being repurposed for cruel delight, even though he recognizes truths in his role. So my benefits for the Laughing Thorn will be whenever he laughs in a reaction to a tragic story, insult, or loss, he'll gain a +1 intimidation bonus against the speaker for 10 minutes. And once per phase, Corin can force a noble to recall a past failure, and the court will quiet, and the noble must respond in kind with a personal secret, riddle, or vow. But if Corin fails a check related to diplomacy, or just anything with sincerity involved. Must laugh involuntarily, potentially ruining the moment and posing potentially ruining the moment and posing a -1 penalties to their next check.
Interesting.
All right, who's next?
Come on, Zach.
Ladies
Gonna be-
first.
No.
I was
don't
raised
wanna-
a gentleman, and it's ladies
Hold on,
first.
hold on. I just, I don't want to sit here and listen to everyone else get their masks while I have to sit with bad news. I'd rather just be the last one to go. I'd rather be the last one to go.
Less time to linger on it and dwell.
Less time to dwell.
All right.
I bet you're gonna love it, Zach. I bet you're gonna love whatever you get.
Oh boy, here we go. All right.
It's age before beauty, isn't it? I think we've established he's older than 10.
Yeah, 11's older than 10, right?
Oh God!
11?
Don't say that. Don't repeat that ever again.
Hey, thanks for the follow. We appreciate it. Greeble, you're up.
All right, here we go.
Greeble, the mask that calls to you, that you know by name, is the Rootbound Servant. A mask carved from driftwood and lichen with small mushrooms growing from the brow. The eyes glow faintly with green light and moss trails near the mouth. Seems comfortable to you, but as you put it on, your body becomes vine-wrapped and spore-laced. Your voice slows, echoing with layered tones, sometimes not your own, and the faint hum of the fungal song surrounds you, but you become the forgotten steward. You're expected to tend to others, but always in the background, cleaning, pouring drinks, adjusting cloaks, and you hear, "You were never a guest, you were always a part of the masquerade." Now you have to kind of deal with being treated as an object as you appear in there. People just don't think of you as a person. And now twisted into this eternal solitude and servitude. However, there are some bonuses for being a servant. You do get a +2 bonus to any stealth or insight checks or sense motive checks in crowded social spaces. Nobles don't see you as a threat or a focal point. Once per phase, you may witness a backstage moment, an overheard whisper between nobles, or a vision of a servant's memory. But when you speak out of turn or demand attention, courtiers can ignore you completely unless you're aided by somebody else. And you get a -2 penalty to your deception or diplomacy unless you're assisted by somebody else. I'll unhide your tab so you can see it there. So you've got your stuff. Aaron, everyone else has disappeared from you.
All alone.
You're all alone. Standing
There's only one
before
mask
the single mask that's left. A feathered obsidian black mask that matches you but has no mouth. The eye holes are silver threaded and shimmer with constellations. A long, trailing, thin train of starlight flecked velvet unfurls from behind it. You know its name to be the Silent Starling. As you put it on, your voice vanishes entirely. Your skin shimmers faintly, and you leave brief after images when you move. Your presence draws whispers, but you cannot respond. You become the muse of unspoken sorrows. You're expected to inspire others merely by your presence, to evoke emotion, and to never speak a word. You are meant to be danced with, mourned near, and admired, but never heard. Someone who previously wielded might and arcane voice must now inspire only through silence and restraint, channeling meaning through posture and subtle movement and grace. And Josh is just shaking his head at me. Sorry.
I get it now.
It's brutal.
We all get it.
Oh, honey.
You do get a social boon. You get a +2 bonus to performances while you're silent, and when pantomiming or using subtle gestures to influence a noble, you get an additional +1 on a successful check, or towards a successful check. So you get a total of a +3
I gotta write this
bonus
down.
It's listed on your your Legend Keeper page. If you go to your character page, there's a tab called the mask you wear, and it's got all this information in it. So it tells you what you're expected to do, what you get. So you'll get 3 total to your bonus when you pantomime or use subtle gestures to influence a noble. And once per phase, you may witness a silent memory or suppressed emotion reflected in another masked guess, chosen by me. And it can be a lead, a regret, a hidden truth. You can just choose somebody in a scene and say, I want to know that person's thing, and I'll tell that to you. But your big drawback, obviously, is you cannot speak. Any verbal spells and verbal influence fails unless you remove the mask, and we all know how bad removing the mask is.
All right.
With the last mask on, as you put it on, the mask settles against your face, not with ties or clasps, but with a soft final pull, as if they were always meant to be worn. The moment they touch skin, the world around you inhales. The shadows in the forest tilt and bloom. Music distant and dreamlike rises from no visible source. Your names, your real names, drift like a mist from your thoughts, suspended somewhere between truth and your performance. As you take your first step forward, your reflections vanish. The archway ahead unfurls like a ribbon pulled free, revealing a vast grove awash with an impossible twilight. Trees spiral into chandeliers hung with bioluminescent blossoms. Pathways twist in loops that sometimes double back onto or into themselves. Laughter echoes from nowhere, and a string quartet plays a tune that somehow syncs to the rhythm of your heartbeat. Masked figures whirl in constant motion. Dancers, duelists, courtiers, jesters. Some wear silks, others feathers, others robes made entirely from shadows stitched with a silver thread. The revel never stops. It simply expands to include you. You're greeted by a tall attendant whose mask is blank and smooth as porcelain. In one hand, they carry a tray of glowing drink, in other, a deck of spiral-carved ivory cards. Welcome, honored guests, they say, their voice echoing from within the mask. You are now a part of the masquerade. Perform your part well. The spiral awaits. As each of you crosses the threshold, you feel your role press inward, not like a costume, but like a second skin. A mask is not worn, but remembered. And as the last of you enters, the trees shift. Somewhere in the distance, a massive ribcage-shaped arch of pale wood rises and begins to pulse in time with the music. The spiral dance has begun. You are no longer merely yourselves. You are players in this court of endless revel. Welcome to the Mistwood Masquerade.
You said they offered us cards?
There are cards. Yeah.
Do we know what they are?
Nope. This place, as you've been told coming here, is a place of wagers, secrets, performances, dance, duels, ritual magic, deal making. Everything is on the table here. You feel completely alien from where you were in Dunscaith looking around this place. The Dunscaith Harvest Festival was a place of home and importance of the connection to one's community, whereas this place is whimsical and shifting on the wills of the people. It seems that there is all sorts of fancy available here. Wagers, gambling, duels, telling stories, playing music, all of those are available to you here, and you feel the urge to perform your role. I gotta go back to Corin's role so I can remember it, because I gotta be that too. And Corin will jump right in. You guys, we recognized each other from behind the masks, because we did see what everyone's mask was, and we kind of entered at the same time. And Corin leans in and sees someone dancing that trips and sprains an ankle and is being taken off the floor, and Corin just follows behind laughing at this person's sorrow and begins to spread out.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, just he begins to spread out from the group as you guys start to merge and mingle with the hundreds of people here.
I want to go find the duelists. You said people are dueling right now?
There are duels that are happening.
and I'm just gonna arbitrarily pick between whoever is fighting, and I'm gonna try and like mentally fuck with one of them, just projecting back their failures whilst they are in the midst of a very tense moment.
Oh, jeez. That's brutal. Just roll a d20 against me here.
Alright.
I'm gonna roll one for the other person and impose a severe penalty on it.
Oof, 9.
Yeah. You choose one at random, but it seems to have been the more talented of the two by far. But you do reflect on that person pretty heavily. And I made all these cool mask things. I gotta remember exactly what you guys can do once per phase. So is this using your insight boon to like reflect all that stuff, that internal regret?
Mm-hmm.
So oh yeah, perfect. Okay, I gotta remember that just a little bit. So he needs to make a will save. Let's do that. Barely makes the will save. Damn. Seems to hold on to this fight and ends up defeating his opponent. And attendants rush out. Greeble, are you involved in the first group of attendants that rush out? Now you're a steward amongst these people?
No, I think Greeble would be moving through the party with like a tray of hors d'oeuvres or drinks or whatever, and is just kind of trying to silently pick up any chatter intel he can while he's just...
Okay. Pick a number for me between 1 and 12.
You know what? I'm gonna roll a d12 for this because I just don't. I'm gonna leave it to the dice. Where's that d12? There you are. It would have been the number I would have picked. 7.
7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You make your way through the crowd, kind of moving between the groups of people that need stuff, and you manage to find your way to this decadent aesthete wrapped in gold dusted roses and blood red leaves. His mask is ornate, blooming outward like a deadly flower. There he's hosting a salon of dangerous beauty where a compliment can bloom into an obsession, or an insult could cost your name. You step into this realm, this small grove, and amongst all of these, by the way, this is just a large court of all these different pathways, and realistically between the platforms draped in these silks, you're almost stepping into another place, and you're stepping into the realm of Erlen of the Gilded Thorn, one of the members of the Court of Masks. I'll just go ahead and drop the name into chat, since that's what your job is, to go around and serve people. I have Cypher selected for some reason, but Cypher didn't say that.
That's me.
I said that. You meet Erlen of the Gilded Thorn, who's holding this salon right now, talking with people, and just idly takes a drink and looks down and eyes you for a moment. Welcome, friends, and goes back to talking and just ignores you for the most part. Some other people take drinks from the tray and barely pay you a passing mind. These are, by the way, let me do this really quick. We're gonna dump this into a combat tracker. I'm just gonna roll everybody, because this is how we're just gonna do phases, is kind of make sure everybody gets a chance to do something. And technically Cypher and Greeble have gone, so I'm gonna put them at the top. Doesn't matter where you appear in this is just the list of how we're going about doing things. And Corin went and laughed at somebody already, so that works fine. But Greeble, did you also get your insight? Now these are the phases instead of rounds. We're just gonna call these phases, so you can definitely overhear something here.
Yeah,
if you want.
I would love to do an insight to see if I overhear anything.
Yeah, that's the boon you get is just being available to hear this stuff. Roll a d20 for me and choose odds or evens.
A D20. All right. I'll choose evens. And nope.
Oof. And it's a 7.
And it's a 7 again.
It's a 7 again.
What's the odds?
Just 1 second here, trying to find my giant list of rumors again.
Yeah, there you go. I'm dying. Oh no, no dice, buddy.
Roll a giant D30. That's a really cool skin for that dice. Oh, it's Rio's. Why do I need to quit clicking people? It's my ginormo list of rumors.
I'm gonna roll a D30. Ooh, that's so cool.
There's 30 of them. So we got 11.
21.
That's what I want.
So you are listening to people as they're taking drinks from you, and you hear somebody say to another guest, one guest arrived without a mask. They're still dancing, but now the mask dances with them. As they're just cackling to each other. It's kind of a warning is what you get from the rumor as you're listening to the context about how the masquerade's magic binds its guests into roles that you don't choose, which you are keenly aware of right now as you're holding a tray of drinks, serving a bunch of snooty people. All right.
You said they arrived without a mask, but now the mask dances with them?
Yes. They managed to get in without a mask, and now the mask dances with them. Chicken. Okay. Perfect. So let's go next to Rio. What do you want to get into, Rio, at the masquerade? There's a ton of stuff going on, but you, the noble.
Yeah, I want to potentially find the more privately, I don't know, people that are having conversations outside of the major ballroom. So I feel like in the middle of it, it's just more social. I want to get more planning and get more regal and get into the people that look like they're in power. So maybe walking around first and trying to find where the high rollers play.
So they seem to be spread out. And that's something you pick up quickly with the court of masks. You haven't quite made it all the way to the back yet. All right, give me 1 second. All right, Rochelle is out of town with the oldest, and she's just checking in. So, apologize. I've got a bunch going on IRL right now.
Many
Oh,
plates.
good.
Mini plate spinning today. So you haven't made your way back. You've heard the name Laruvian, the host, but you're not exactly sure where to find Laruvian at. Somebody you're sure you could find if you wanted to hunt down, but you're just kind of getting the vibe right now. You're looking for quiet and not the main places. Give me just a decision for you on 1, 2, 3. Give me a choice of 1 through 5.
2.
All right. There is a small place that's quietly having a conversation where you brush past Greeble on his way out serving drinks and find yourself in the grove again of Erlin of the Gilded Thorn. There's a few people in there having a conversation, and they see you enter, and the mask that you wear is that forgotten lineage, so it comes across as strange when Erlen turns. She goes, "Ah, yes, the heir of blah blah blah," and everybody just agrees. The heir of blah 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 is definitely a house that they've heard of.
Oh, he says literally blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah. What brings you to the salon today?
I was bored of the dancing already, and I was hoping to get into some fun.
I see. Fun is something that we have here in spades. Oh, sorry. I'm just laughing at the gif of Maddie. Well,
Oh.
what do you have in mind? We could have a duel of compliments. I would love to speak more on the house blah 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 and the wonderful things your family has done.
Yes, blah blah blah. They do all these great things, of course. Maybe compliments sound okay. Is there anything more of risk?
Something more risky then. Erlen looks around at the few people are in here, and he waves a hand, and the attendants kind of clear out and leave just a couple of Erlen's main people, like their primary entourage, like 3 other guests that you're unsure exactly what they are or do, but their main function seems to be kissing Erlen's butt. Keeps them close and shoos everybody away. Something more dangerous, you say? How about words against our hosts? I know that
Intrigued?
the final spiral draws near, and alliances are falling in interesting places. I would like to know where your allegiances lie, sir. Sir of blah blah blah. That's it. It's canon. Your name is Sir of blah blah blah.
Sir of blah blah blah. Okay.
Blah blah blah.
You really are the forgotten heir. I'm so glad that this is my favorite new freaking random NPC name. Is I didn't actually have to come up with one because it's the forgotten heir.
Well, now we're talking. That seems a little bit more risky and enjoyable, if I may say so.
Well, you are my guest, so by all means, you may have the first jape, if it were. Since you know a little bit about, you have some knowledge of this. You are doing your job of feigning importance, which is great. You can try to assert a royal truth with this if you want, or you can just, keep this as a social interaction and attempt to make some a check for this. And with that, I mean, you could use diplomacy, deception, intimidation if you wanted to go that route, or even performance, just to kind of put on a show.
Blah.
No, it's blah.
Okay, so well, no, that's blah blah blah. So the idea of this quote unquote game is to show my allegiance to either this person or the host. Is that the gist of what's happening?
Really, they're trying to the words you're getting is you feel like they may be trying to test where your allegiances lie.
Well, I guess I'll start off the game and try and put it back on them, and just basically say, rumors of these masks and the creator are floating around. I have been tempted, I guess, to remove mine just to see what happens. but everyone knows what happens, and I'll look dead on in her eyes, and she'll just see a slight reflection of green, and I'll try and intimidate her with a glare
Ooh.
because I can do that because of the level up. So now my demoralize is
Yeah.
a mere glare, and when
Nice.
I use demoralize, or when I try to demoralize, it loses the auditory trait and gains the visual trait. So that way they don't have to speak my language, bitch.
Give it to him.
And I'm an expert. Let's see. Where did it go? I am not an expert in finding it. There it is. Intimidation. Roll. Come on. Oh no.
Just as a reminder, since you're all mythic characters, you have
Rewrite fate.
3 mythic points at the beginning of the session, and you may rewrite fate.
we are doing that. Gonna rewrite, make it mythic, because that was terrible. Make it mythic. Go back to this. Intimidation. Roll.
And we can't use that to rewrite fate for other stuff,
no,
right?
that's
That's
better.
just for us.
Yes, it's
But
just
still not
for you.
great.
Okay.
But at mythic proficiency,
23 in total.
it hits the very hard check exactly for intimidating someone of this station.
Let me turn off make it mythic. I remember to do it.
Good job.
Okay.
And make sure you take away your mythic points. They kind of lean back a
it's
bit, and the attendants kind of grasp it like the oh, my pearls. Like, some of them are getting the vapors a little bit, but Elrond looks to his friends, looks back to you. I do say, I think that calls for a toast. Waves back in someone that's not Greeble, who comes around with glasses, and Elrond Erlen seems that they would definitely do something toast oriented for their jape, just because it's that showiness, that flashiness that they enjoy. But Erlen raises up a glass, this crystalline goblet, presumably off in the distance towards Laruvian's, their little place of entertainment. With a half bow and this razor sharp smile, says, "To our beloved host, whose smile has graced 1,000 seasons and whose silence has made room for more meaningful voices." He lifts the goblet a little higher, golden thorns blooming along his sleeves. "May they never change, even as the world finds someone worth listening to." He nods towards you.
I will reciprocate.
You get the sense, as you're listening to this, the mask seems to be interpreting some of the dance with you. And this exchange of japes was fun for Erlen. And you get the feeling pretty quickly that Erlen is aligned as secretly ambitious. Someone who's not outright against Laruvian, but is ambitious and willing to make a move. There could be an opportunity that if you let him create a new salon of a rebellion, flatter his ego, offer him elevated positions in the court to come after this dance, that you may be able to convince Elrond to vote against Laruvian in the final spiral. This is the end of your phase. Do you feel like speaking your royal truth? I don't know if you have anything here you need to speak on.
No,
Feeling pretty good about
I
it.
don't think so.
All right. The japes, there's a little bit of laughing, this exchange, then the conversation turns more casual and seems to almost blur a bit, like when you find yourself standing at a party and the conversations just kind of blend together for a few moments, and you find yourself just existing in Erelon's space for 15 minutes or so before wandering off elsewhere in the party, and that's where Rio's phase will ebb out to Viola, who is not here, but we can still have Viola do stuff if you guys would like to, because we can oxypilot her. The comic relief who knows too much is expected to play dumb, laugh loudly, and always be watching. Once per phase, she can designate another player as the straight one, and when they pair with that player, they gain a bonus to investigate or sense motive for that phase, due to Viola's distraction. So while Viola's not here, we could have Viola using that ability once per phase and just giving us bonuses instead of having her do stuff. Okay.
Give it to Aaron.
Since Aaron's the only one left this phase, it's gonna go to Aaron.
I have a feeling this is going to be the hardest check.
Yeah, really.
Aaron, you can unmute and actually talk to me. You don't have to be silent on the stream. Your character is expected to not speak, not you, Maddie. You said that you would logically know it, and I knew the emotions would hit, but no, I want you to talk to me and tell me what you want to do, please. Unmute all your double and triple mutes.
Describe what she's saying as she enters.
So you've just entered into the grand pavilion, kind of the first dancing floor. Really, there's the string quartet nearby, but unseen, that's playing. There's a lot of people dancing here, and you watch as a couple things happen. Corin heads off and is just laughing at someone's misfortune. You watch as Cypher moves off into the distance and observes some duels. You see Greeble for just a moment grab a tray and then quickly scuttle off to go help people, and then Rio moves off to go talk to somebody, looking regal as he passes through the crowd. And with that, Viola kind of sidles up next to you and starts acting like a fool, but gives you a knowing wink beforehand to let you know that, to kind of go around and observe people, use this opportunity as she's causing a distraction.
Yeah, she'll float. Usually, like, without actively trying to engage in anything. I think she's observing and looking for like an opening, so to speak. A place where she can insert herself, her like presence, and try to take opportunity of small, like gestures or movements. Like, that's what she's looking for.
Okay. You find that pretty quickly in this entry area as Viola causes a distraction by looking like a nitwit, and the dance floor shifts and you find yourself pulled into a group dance where you're shifting partners and you're being danced with between all these people, and you're kind of passed around as a partner, and then like just traditional ballroom style dancing where you're shifting partners quickly.
Yeah.
Not that you're being passed around, like was phrased horribly.
I am aware. I'm aware. That is not what I was assuming.
My brain went to phrasing immediately. It was, the alarm was blaring. That phrasing was horrible.
You are okay. I did not assume that.
I did. It was 100% me. So with that, Viola does kind of step into the dance as well and causes just a fucking scene. Misstepping, stepping on people's feet, insulting their capability and their prowess of dancing. And it turns into the fact that anybody that Viola steps on or bumps into suddenly has the blame, and everybody just kind of laughs at them. And Corin is on the side just busting up as people are getting insulted. But it provides you the opportunity to give me a performance check, and you do get a +3 status bonus while you're taking part in this dance.
Cracker. It holds a special place in performance. There we go.
And then when you see it, when it pops up, you make sure to put in your +3 and hit add so it shows up on the list. And it's actually going to be a +4 because Sarah's going to provide you a bonus of status bonus too. So you get a circumstance from your thing, and she gives you a status bonus.
Noise.
Perfect. So that's it. You know the dance well, or the mask seems to know the dance well, and it helps you. and you find yourself moving through using these subtle gestures to improve the dance around you. And anybody who seems to connect with you feels really kind of blessed to be in your presence, and you see them looking into your face as you're just silently partaking in this dance, and you're evoking emotion that just wildly different from each partner that you move to in that brief touch. There are 5 or 6 distinct individuals that you move between in this group dance. You can choose. One of them may be of someone of importance. The others may just be partygoers, but you will learn something.
What was the host's name?
The host's
Laruvian?
name is Laruvian. Yeah, that's the host of the entire Mistwood Masquerade. Laruvian is not in this area.
Okay.
You said they were described more as king or as prisoner than king, right?
The
That was
rumors
them?
are that they are more prisoner than king, but
Okay.
they play the host very well. They are
Right,
a
yeah.
ostentatious host of this this masquerade.
So he's not here. Is there someone who seems to act like they're the most important person?
A couple of these
And
people
not like-
absolutely do.
Not like
Me.
Not like the oh, I'm the best, like
Lord
ego,
blah, blah.
most important person in the room.
Sir,
I'm
blah, blah,
talking
blah.
like yeah, I'm talking about the person that most obviously when people they interact, they're extra careful. This person has a sort of different kind of air to them.
Not
Someone who
anybody you're
knows
dancing
something.
with. There seems to
Okay.
be some interesting people here. Unfortunately,
Okay.
think of this as like a noble feast where there's,
Okay.
3,000 nobles from around different houses, and then hundreds and hundreds of different like attendants and musicians and people like cleaning up, and there's massive amount of people here, and all of them seem different levels of importance. You would be considered someone very important to these people because you are the muse of unspoken sorrows. It's a highly prestigious role. So this is just, as you're trying to figure that out, like normally you would enter a social situation and you would be like, I want to know who the most important person here is, because you've done that so far in your
Yeah.
life. Oh, it harkens back to Obadiah Soon. Somebody that you're just like, that person's important, I'm gonna respect them. Everybody here has a level of that if they're involved in the dance and they're involved in that part of the act. If they're servants, their role is servants, they're not important.
Yeah. Okay.
Understanding how the masquerade works, it could be cruel like that and take a king who has traveled here and bring him down to the level of a servant.
Okay, so could you describe some of the people that she notices?
A few individuals, a couple ladies that appear to be noble women. There's a courtly knight that's here as well, someone who seems to be a little off-put by the decadence and the finery. Appears to be someone who would come from war and is just here because they have to be here. There is, let's see if there was anybody else interesting here. There is not anybody of the Court of Masks that would stand out for you here. Yeah, there's the knight, a couple ladies, and then a couple courtly gentlemen, like bachelors that look like they're maybe looking for the next princess of their land. All of your tropey regal people are right in this little dance group.
She's going to take notice of is it the knight who seemed like they were just there out of obligation?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, she'll notice that one first.
Okay. Let's do this for you here. That person, takes your hand, performs the dance with you. And there's a lot of sorrow from this individual. And you get that suppressed, silent memory of this person learning. And you see the reflection of a conversation of a young elven woman who appeared to be some sort of wizard, finding this place and wanting to learn more. And she's having a conversation, and she's convinced that she's going to come in here, and she's holding the mask of this knight. And so you're seeing the memory of her getting her mask. And she says to her colleague that it's presumably somewhere in the masquerade as well, Laruvian's mask can't be removed because it's not a mask at all anymore. I wonder if there's another way to unbind them from this. And kind of the way that this person's now seems to be trapped here, like that elf was wearing clothing that you don't recognize. It seems way out of fashion. Could have been, a couple thousand years ago. But it kind of hints at, that the Laruvian may not fully be a person anymore, but like the embodiment of that role. They may have fully succumbed to the embodiment of that role. So that's the memory and the rumor that you pick up from dancing with this person.
Very interesting.
And with that, I'm going to give you a bonus one because you are getting help from Viola as she's running around talking to people. You hear the other memory from one of the other dancers, one of the young ladies. She was attending one of the salons, watching people do, attending a beauty salon, really, more of like getting to sit in the chairs and getting their face painted to get ready to come back out and dance. Oh. And then somebody was talking and said that the host's smile is painted because they forgot how to make their own. This kind of poetic suggestion again that Laruvian is emotionally numb or trapped in this performance. Okay, back up to the top with Cypher.
Oh boy, it's me. So, fucking with the duelists didn't go well at all. Let's see, what are my options? I already forgot. Kind of realizing jumping too headlong into it and not entirely... I don't know, how much of ourselves is still in there? Are we just like completely overwritten, or do we still kind of have our thought processes to it?
You have a bit of your thought process to it. The terrifying part is how much the mask is becoming you. And not that you want to lose yourself, but there's an allure to becoming the mask. And it's a little scary that you could just play this role for eternity and it would feel fine. It all feels perfectly natural to you to play this role. But then there's the part of you at the back of your mind that's like, no, we're here for a job. Get the fuck out. This is horrifying.
And we're, as a refresher, we're here to figure out what again? Because there's been so many different twists and turns to this where I don't entirely remember what we're doing here. So I remember we came to Berthalin to look for his bones, but what are we doing at the court? The court
has the bones.
Okay.
The bones were part of the contract that Bernard made somehow with the Mistwood Masquerade that was anchoring that Fey border marker that kept Berthalin from incursing on the sheltered plane. They kept it separate. When it was broken, they are leveraging the contract that was on Bernard's bones as a means by which to establish dominance over the sheltered plane and make Berthalin their new home. And you don't know why they want to do that, but they want to have a foothold in the sheltered plane for some reason. And you're not sure. But you know that they have his bones, and on his bones is the original contract language, because Cantifor Pecan had a copy of it. And
which we assume they've been fucking with somehow to modify that.
Yeah,
deal.
They kind of modified the deal a little bit, is what you feel. So you're trying to figure out how to maneuver through here to put Laruvian in a position to get the bones. Whether that's through an agreement with them, through maybe changing the deal slightly, that's all up to you guys.
I would like to look around for officious types. People who look like they are less here for the revelry and more because this is like their job. If there are anyone like that in the crowd.
There are some people who are here doing the work for the masquerade. You spot when you start looking for them, like the
Yeah, I mean, like
masquerades.
serving people. I mean,
no.
like reserved, like higher ups.
Yeah. So the ones that you catch, like as you're looking around, are like you stop engaging with the revelry and you start to look at okay, who's really who, and you note the hierarchy you knew about before just briefly. You see it really playing out when you take the time to think about it and look. So you spot near the dueling platforms, someone that you've heard before already, and you've seen did you see the vision for the or was it
Which one?
the one with the
We saw like 6 visions last
Bernard's the effigy, where we saw the person stab Bernard?
I am fairly certain that was not me. I think that might have been Aaron or Viola.
Yeah, I know it was described to you then, so go ahead and just give me, I'm gonna roll a check for you really quick, just a secret one to see if you kind of flashback remember this, if this catches your eye. Not that I'm hiding it for you, it's a did you remember this description or not? Is the check level for this very easy? Is it the right one? Yeah, it fits the description well enough. It's pretty ostentatious person. So you notice, looking at the different groups of people here, you spot one of the people that's in the Court of Masks, absolutely for sure, because you remember they're archetypal. They are people who are at the top of the pile because they're so unique. You spot amongst the duelists, Vastrel, the Thorn Jester. Chaos Bringer, clad in motley thorns and petals, Vastrel's mask is sharp-toothed and changes expressions constantly. She weaves duels out of insults, turning apologies to wavers, dances across blades with gleeful malice. She thrives on humiliation, particularly of the proud. That guy that just won the duel because he was really, really good, even though you gave him the business with your mask, she jumps in and absolutely humiliates him. And just the duel shifts to watching her humiliate this guy. So you see one of the Court of Masks, and they stand apart from everybody. There's the 12 of them. As you're looking around at the other people, though, the ones that stand out too are the Maskrites. You see the people who are standing on the sides, tinkering with sets of hands, and they are sewing masks. But you also get the severe sense from them, since they're all armed, they're the ones that enforce the mask laws.
The Maskrites?
Yeah, the Maskrites do.
Okay.
And then you see the rest of them, really, just because now you're kind of getting a look at the big picture. The chorus is really everybody else who's kind of that, like I said, the tropey nobles who are at the ball. That's the chorus. That's a shifting body of minor nobles, performers who serve as the voices and drama of the masquerade. So they're the body of the masquerade. And then the last people that you see on the sides, these are the mask fallen, former guests that have turned to new roles, servants, jesters, musicians, dancers, whoever they were assigned to, but they don't appear like the chorus, whereas the chorus is involved. They're participating in the masquerade willingly. They're a guest of it. The mask fallen are people who have fused with their masks, and it's now a part of their being. They're lost beneath them, and they seem more lost to the masquerade. They're there out of obligation because they're now stuck here.
Okay. I guess this is a two-part question. Are the Court of Masks people like isolated physically, or are people kind of mingling amongst them too? You said they stand apart, but like,
they stand
are they
apart.
literally away from us, or
So there
are they
are
approachable?
There are different groups of like places where people are performing different things, and those are kind of hid behind these silk curtains that drape up into nothingness. You see them just extend for eternity up into the air, and they kind of cover these regions, these platforms where you can go on these paths and walk between to these different places. And you walked into one of these silk sheets, kind of silk draped areas, and that was the dueling platform, and that's where this person, where Vastrel is from. They kind of run this little platform. So these large platforms that have different people there, they are there are different courts, sub courts within the Mistwood Masquerade, and you can go to the courts and you can find, like, if you went looking, there's like the entrance where you were was the Grand Hall where a lot of dancing was happening, but one of the other people that runs the Court of Masks, one of the other 12, inside of their little court could be dancing and merriment and stuff like that, but it's just within their little domain. So they are approachable because there are people of the chorus that are there participating in their part of the masquerade. Each of these little sub courts that's run by one of the Court of Masks has its own chorus people there participating. So you can walk between the platforms. There's one for each of the 12, and then Laruvian is somewhere.
All right, I want to try and scoop my way through the platforms and try and get a sense for where Laruvian is. See if I can listen in and eavesdrop and kind of like vibe through the crowds.
Sure.
If that's possible. I don't know. I'm so fucking lost.
It's a large place. There's a lot of them. I thought about trying to map this, but I couldn't get brain to map besides just a circle of each place.
Yeah.
That may just be the way we need to do it. You may just want to do that.
Search for if anybody is talking about Laruvian, like where they are, or where Laruvian.
Yeah, the host.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, finding if anybody is talking about the host, and then like if anybody is mentioning them, focus in on them until I get some information about where to find him. Yeah.
See if I can do this a little bit easier for you guys. I'm going to switch over to the matrix here and drop you guys out onto this so you can walk around. And this is not to scale. I'm just going to basically put this out here. So the platforms will be kind of what they're named. And then we'll call like this one over here, we'll call Duelist Rise. And then this has got this one has Vastrel on it, so we'll put Vastrel there.
Okay, that's the Thorn Jester.
Yep, the Thorn Jester. And then where Greeble and Rio went was over to the Gilded Thorn. So I'll put Errol on there. And we're just going to call this one the Snobby Court. Because he likes to just be snooty with people and duel with wit and stuff like that. So we got the Snobby Court, and that's where Rio was hanging out, and Greeble was over there serving some people, but Viola and Aaron and Corin, were all in the main grand entrance hall. And then there's a bunch of other ones. So I'll quickly kind of put these out there. I just want to call this one like Emo Poets Rise, but
Hot topic.
Yeah, call it the Hot Topic. But there's a poetry platform kind of over here doing poems stuff, and all these are just intermixed between each other. So this is like, this one's full of ivy, and there's lots of sorrowful music that way, and mourning stuff that's happening there. This one is a hunt. So this one, when you step into it, is an actual hunt. So you're like out in the glade hunting and stuff like that.
Which one had the 12?
The 12 people, they are everywhere. They are spread out. These circles are their main places, and you can kind of just go between them. So I'm like, I didn't have a good way to represent this, but like talking with you guys, it made me think of a little bit better way to do it. There's the mask archives there. Punch these out really quick. I'll just call that the Riddle Roost. I'm gonna give them all cute names because I'm not gonna try to be too catchy with them. That's how you spell pageant, right? Pageant. I think that's correct.
I think so.
Yep, pageant.
Yeah.
That's the pageant. Bear with me. Like 3 more.
You're good.
Got the orchestra. Orchestral chamber there. Cocoon. Mirror halls. And the last one. So the last one is a grand court of the host. Those are all the main ones there. That is typically Laruvian's spot where like decisions are made, probably like things like people getting together and talking. But there's not an actual spot right now. Oops, there was a wall on the map. All right, there's our rough approximation. Again, these are all like varying sizes and layers, and there's twisting bridges between them, and you can maneuver between these freely. And you were over on the Duelist Rise where we had Velchatrel. Or Vastrel, sorry.
Or Vastrel, yeah.
Yep. So you wanted to go observing and seeing what you could see?
Yeah, just kind of meander and walk my way through just groupings of people that seem to be amidst discussion, like nobody dancing or, anything like that, but just people who are talking. If anybody looks like they're gossiping, I want to see if I can pick up information on where Laruvian is.
All right. Go ahead and make a diplomacy check for me as you're talking with people and like just trying to observe. Really, you're trying to. This is going to be. I think you have a disadvantage for talking. Let's see.
Yeah, it's like a -2, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm not. -1.
Diplomacy. Yeah, it's only -1. So as you're talking to people, it's a little harder to get that information out of them.
Oh, I'm not trying to talk. I'm trying to listen.
Listen? Okay. Then
Yeah.
just give me a perception check as you're talking, listening around to people and trying to pick up where Laruvian might be.
That is a 12 plus whatever my perception is. I think it's 7. So 12 plus 7, 19. Does the mask bonus count for that, or is that different?
No. I don't think.
Okay, so then 19.
No, it's perception. Yeah, you're listening within, so people's fears are getting projected. So 19 total.
Plus 2 then, so 21.
Laruvian's probably over with Erilyn right now over at the Snobby Court.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay.
So you want to make your way that way to observe, or?
Yeah.
I think we had Rio and Greeble were not there anymore. They were out. Okay.
Yeah.
You make your way to observe this conversation that's existing now between Erilyn and Laruvian. Erlen is dangerous. You can tell just by getting that, as the mask kind of reflects who this person is. Ambitious, seductive, and hungry. Laruvian's there to remind him who holds the stage.
And Erlen was the one that Rio was talking to? Okay. Okay.
So this is the kind of first look you get as well of Laruvian, the painted smile, sovereign of the masquerade, the unspoken monarch of the mask. You get there and kind of Laruvian doesn't arrive. They were always already present. You don't hear footsteps. There's no announcement of Laruvian. One moment the air hums with music and murmured laughter, and the next a breathless stillness falls over the crowd, and every masthead turns. Laruvian stands beneath a chandelier of glowing blossoms, tall and still, their robes a trailing patchwork of midnight petals, lacquered leaves and vine-stitched velvets, colors rippling across it in slow oil-like gradients as it kind of morphs in these deep purples and phantom greens, impossible hues that refuse to settle into names. Their ivory mask bears a fixed painted smile, too gentle, too still, and far too perfect. Gold filigrees trace the cheekbones like veins of dried leaves, and no mouth moves, no eyes can be seen, and yet when they tilt their heads, you feel the weight of their gaze, heavy as memory, cold as breath on glass. They don't speak with words. They kind of gesture. Dancers change tempo. When they pass by, the music modulates to follow. Even the trees kind of seem to lean toward them as if pulled by reverence or gravity. But they don't command. They only suggest, imply, or dance. And each motion's a deliberate, choreographed, precise, as if they were caught mid-performance thousands of years ago and have been repeating that same performance ever since. When Laruvian comes in, they do notice you, Cypher. And it feels less like being seen and more like being included. Not invited, not welcome, included, like a piece put on a stage of something long rehearsed.
Okay.
But there's something brittle beneath all this grace and grandeur. There's something brittle, something strained. And it makes you really wonder every time that music swells, just for a moment, like who or what's really trapped beneath there. But you gotta...
I don't really know what else to do, but can I try and use the insight boon for the self-lie portion or a regret?
For Laruvian?
Yeah.
Yeah. You observe this dance as it goes on, waiting for Laruvian to kind of look back to you. There's a show of force kind of disguised as a favor as Laruvian dances with Erlen, and then bows slightly, not in deference, but in declaration.
To whom?
To Erlen.
Just in general, or
To Erlen. And you see, like, Erlen starting to calmly start to host salons to start to sway members of the chorus. But you look to Laruvian with the mask, trying to catch that reflection, and it doesn't really work on Laruvian. There's something missing for it to connect to, but you feel it pull to Erlen as it reveals something of truth in what's happening here.
Okay.
You get the sense that Rio made a good impression on Erlen, and Erlen sees an opportunity, and that Erlen is putting on the show, is hosting these salons to sway minor nobles to the cause of Laruvian, to support. And really, you get the very big sense now that this is a court that lives and breathes. Like, the people make decisions here. What the chorus supports is how the masks vote, because they want to be on the right side of the masquerade when the chips all fall. Because there is something major coming, and the chorus does hold some power over the court of masks.
And they want to pick the winning side.
They want to pick the winning side. So you see that Erlen's making those moves, but the self-lie that you pick up there is that Erlen's hosting minor nobles that are meaningless. Really, they're doing it to keep Laruvian off their back as they explore more into the group of you that just arrived.
Huh.
Seems that the ambition has not been squashed.
So they're currently hosting a group of meaningless nobles so that they can focus instead on us.
Yeah, and their Laruvian made it pretty clear what they wanted, that they wanted Erilyn to come to their side and work with her, or work with him. And Erilyn agreed, in a sense, and is putting on the show that they're doing exactly what Laruvian asked, but they're not. It's all a sham to try to get more information about you guys and see if going against Laruvian is going to be the winning choice this time.
Okay.
So it seems that Laruvian or Erilyn can very easily be shifted for alliances if you're looking for someone to target.
Okay.
All right. I know that wasn't quite good with the insight, but I want to make sure that hit exactly. Let's see. You can also use, sorry, that was with your, that would have been your insight boon on them to get them caught. You can try to, actually, I'm going to do a will save for, you know what? No, this is even more interesting. You're going to get that Erilyn, sorry, I just remembered that there's a second half to what you have with a will save. Erilyn voluntarily fails the will save. It seems to be playing a card. Really?
Okay.
And you get a kind of a lead. It is Thalarin, the Moth Matron, is indifferent but intrigued. Press on the domino and it may fall.
Press on the domino?
It may fall. Like, yeah, just the...
Oh. Okay. All right. Thalarin.
Yeah, give me just a second. I'm missing. I've got my my tabs here. I'm trying to go. Oh, there she is.
Moth matron.
Yep, the Moth Court Matron. Thaleren. Thalarin.
Okay.
Somebody else who may be interesting to try to get into your favor.
I'll go look for them and come to that next time, I guess.
Dang it. Lost my encounter.
Oh, because it's probably on the other map.
Mm-hmm. There it is. There's the unlink from scene button. Perfect. Cypher's gun. Greeble. Only no apostrophes, okay? Greeble. So I pulled you over while you were AFK there for a second, kind of showing some of the different places you can go, and you can see which member of the Court of Masks runs that spot.
I think Greeble. I know we're here to learn more about the bones, and I know that one of my abilities is I can access a vision of a servant's memory.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if there may be any servant who maybe overheard something about Bernard's bones, possibly, was cleaning a chamber that somebody was talking about Bernard's bones in. So I think that's what I want to see, if I can find another servant or like the head of the servants, and see if I can glean anything from one of their memories.
Okay. Absolutely.
You fractured.
Yeah.
Oopsie.
We're gonna add a new background, but
So the
huge.
the backstage moment, you can kind of capture a vision of a servant's memory. It may not be exactly what you're looking for, but you can take a shot, and I'm gonna have you just roll a d20 for me and see how lucky you can get. This is just gonna be a pure luck roll.
Pure luck roll. That's pretty good luck with an 18.
Nice.
That was not
If we're
good. You
going
needed a
high.
21 on a d20. Sorry.
Shit.
Oh,
No, I'm
shit.
kidding.
I have a +2 bonus.
And actually,
Actually,
Actually.
I'm just checking to see if any of my rumors. I don't think I had a bones rumor in there. So you find one of these mask fallen, someone who has been here so long, a dancer that's moving between stages, that their mask is fused with them and they're completely lost beneath them, and you get fractures of a memory that the bones are somewhere in the court of the host and they're kept there under guard, and it's not something that's easily just grabbable. They may, because you rolled so well too, like they may exist in some sort of extra dimensional space that's kept on Laruvian's person, but they only come out in the court of the host when they need them. Masquerading washroom. Love it.
I'm not near any of my friends right now, so I can't really convey that information to anybody.
You can move around and find
so
them. These phases are like
I will-
30 to 30 minutes or so. Like it's not just a...
Okay.
Yeah, this is plenty of time to move around and do stuff. This is not combat rounds.
Then, knowing that Viola is kind of like the de facto planner, I'll find her and tell her and explain that the bones are probably here somewhere, or on Laruvian. We may have to ask Laruvian directly.
Oh, you know what? I'm an idiot. Of course I did put stuff about the bones in here because I put it under Bernard, not Bone. Dumb. Let me give you one of these too. There is another conversation you over here too as people are chatting, because what other things do people have to do in these balls besides gossip? And you hear one of them talking about Bernard. Still seems to be a topic of conversation here. They say the grove remembers Bernard. It blooms differently where he bled. Possibly that one of these places, and now with that memory, it could have happened either on the Duelist Rise, knowing that Vastrel struck Bernard down, or it could have been up in the Court of Hosts when Bernard threw his mask down. But you could move around and go look for it. You said you wanted to relay some information to somebody?
Yeah, I'll relay the information that I received to Viola.
Okay.
And then after making my way to her, I will make my way over to the Duelist Rise and see if I can see anything, any discoloration in the ground anywhere, anything out of the ordinary.
You spend the rest of this phase serving drinks and moving about through there, looking for something different to catch your eye, and on the Duelist Rise, you don't find it.
Okay.
But you do get your rumor and your memory that you shared with the team, and yeah, you don't really find anything else out too much this phase. So now it's Corin. Corin will, for this one, move off to one of the other platforms. So which platform should we... Actually, Aaron. There. Maddie, you can still talk. We're going to let you run Corin and Aaron for this because it makes more sense for you guys to explore this, since I have layers of secrets here to find out.
Okay, so Corin, Where is he right now?
He is with you at the Grand Hall. You remember Corin's role is he laughs at people's sorrow, basically.
Yup. So
And then Rio, you're going to be on deck.
Corin is going to float away from the Grand Hall. And I think he's gonna go to the Duelist Rise where Vestrel
Okay.
is. And I think he's going to pick some of the low-hanging fruit that is people competing, and they're obviously being winners and losers. People
Okay.
to be laughed at.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and do a. You can either have Corin do an intimidation or a performance check.
Okay. He will do a.
For
You said
intimidation and
a
performance,
performance?
yeah, it's the same for him. Either one.
Yeah.
He does get a
Well-
bonus for intimidation for insulting people when he laughs
That's
at
what
him.
I was looking at. Is which one would have a better advantage? Yeah, he's gonna do intimidation.
You want to roll or do you want me to?
Intimidation check. I think I can roll.
You should add the plus
What?
one.
What? It's just +1.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh, let's go. Nat 20. That's a critical success. So with that, Corin also can, force somebody to recall a past failure, as that person then has to
Yeah.
recall, like, a responding sign with a personal secret.
I think he's going to target Vastrel.
Vastrel is not there anymore, but that's the Vastrel's rise. Vastrel's moved off.
Ah. Who else is there?
Just a whole mix of the chorus. Nobody
Okay,
of notes.
And well, he's gonna pick somebody.
Yeah. So
Give a mouse a cookie. Come on.
the majority of what you guys are looking for is like the rumors and notes that are left by the chorus, like all the information that's
Yeah.
scattered to them, to figure out who to go try to sway in the Court of Masks. You guys are working your way up the food chain here.
Okay.
So the noble that that Corin insults as he's losing a duel, has to recall a past failure, and with that, the noble reveals something, but the mask collects the deeper information, and it says something
Okay.
a little bit concerning. The rumor, like the secret that Corin gets then, is that some of the guests aren't guests at all. They're watchers from beyond. That are not from the masquerade. So Corin gets the details that somebody's infiltrating the masquerade that's not supposed to be here. And it's not saying like you guys, that there's people here who are not actual true guests.
Like us or
Not like
Not
you.
us.
You guys are guests. Somebody in here, some
Okay.
people are in here that are not guests, that are doing some hinky stuff. And then because you crit,
Okay.
you're going to get 2.
Nice.
You get a very interesting one that's really concerning. As Corin is told, or here's the rumor: the Prince of Thress never chose a bride. They say the choice was made for him. And that is disturbing because
Hey.
Thress is the Thress Protectorate. The kingdom you guys literally came from with Dunscaith. And what the fuck the Mistwood Masquerade knows about the Court of Thress and the Prince of Thress right now not having a bride.
Interesting.
No idea why these people would be talking about that.
All right. I got it.
And I will summarize in our group chat too for you guys every one of the rumors that you guys get today. I'll put them all on a list for you so you've got them all.
Okay.
Sweet.
Just because it's a ton of stuff. I know it's like literally pulling threads to unravel all this bullshit right now. All right, that's Corin. We're gonna go to Rio. And
Okay.
Rio, you get a new boon.
Ooh.
Starting in phase 2, from now on, if you shatter something symbolic, like a goblet, a mask, or a name, you gain a reaction that lets you interrupt another courtier's action or decree demanding correction or silence. So you get to lean into that noble heritage and throw the gauntlet down, basically. Smash something and scream that you object or some sassiness like that. But unless you have an action that can demand silence and hopefully turn the tide in your favor.
Okay.
But
cool.
where would Rio like to go? And I just realized stream cannot see where all of our friends are. So we're going to put the chat out here. Here's chat. Hi, chat.
Hi, Jet.
Pumpkin.
Chat pumpkin.
I guess Rio. No, I'll go into the hunt. Yeah, why not? We'll see what's going on in the hunt.
Why is it going up there? It's so weird. I said to go to the combatant, and it's like following up there. Selected actors. Let's do that. Fine. GM vision. Being a pain. The stream vision thing is being silly. All right. You head to the hunt. Sweet masquerade people, the hunt. Oh, sorry, dog's going crazy again. I mean, just a sec. Something got in the backyard. Sorry, guys. Apologies. Actually, you know what? This is a perfect time because I just realized we're 7. This is a great time for break. I will go deal with my dogs, and we'll be right back here, everybody. Let's go take a quick break. We'll be back in 5 or 10 minutes here. Thanks, folks.
Sounds good.
Hey, we're back.
Hello.
Hello. All right, so we left off with Rio making his way over to the hunt.
Yeah, so what do royal nobles do? They hunt.
They do. They like to hunt. So
They like to mount lions on their.
They do. The forest here grows restless. The paths twist into loops and the air thrums with the low sound of pounding hooves, though you see no horses. Velvet pennants appear between the trees and their fraying ends into smoke. Horns made of silver thorns rise from the underbrush, and laughter, feral and joyful, echoes through the canopy like the call of something too wild to be tamed. And then you see him. Avren, A-U-V-R-E-N. Avren, the Smiling Hound, one of the members of the Court of Masks, lopes through the grove with a beast's grace and a nobleman's swagger. His mask, painted in perpetual glee, bears the exaggerated snout of a hound mid-howl, its eyes curled joyfully shut. Long canine ears woven of ivy and gold wire twitch with every echo. His attire is hunting leathers embroidered with roses and teeth, and on his back a net spun of shadow and memory. He doesn't carry a blade, though. He doesn't need one. The hunt has already begun. Avren never announces what is being hunted. Sometimes it's a guess who whispered their name aloud. Sometimes it's a secret too painful to remember. Other times it's a vow broken in silence, now given form and scent, but the quarry always runs. You don't need to agree to participate in the hunt. If you've ever denied something you knew to be true, you're already part of it. And Avren does not chase alone. When you enter the hunt, Rio, you find yourself among masked courtiers adorned with antlers, snouts, and feathers joining in pursuit. They laugh as they chase figments through thorn-thick groves. Laughter grows louder as the closer they get. And the hunted may run, and they may hide, but they may even become the hunter themselves if they realize what they're truly feeling. But no one escapes unchanged. You see Avren as he is finishing a hunt. He stands over whatever he was chasing, caught, mask grinning. He doesn't deliver a kill. He simply stands over it, raises his hand and declares, "You've been seen." And then he vanishes. And whatever was hunted carries weight. A memory, a truth, or a fear forevermore. And you feel the forest whisk away from you, and you find yourself back in the hunting lodge as Avren stands amongst the other huntsmen who are gathered here, joyously celebrating the last successful hunt. Let me go ahead and put his name out there on the map for you. This is where Avren rules. So the Smiling Hound is in there with everybody else. This master of the hunt, is just in his laughter now is boisterous. This guy is like legitimately Gaston in a wolf mask. is my vibe for him.
Nice.
And so he's absolutely boasting and sharing stories with everybody as you observe in the room. What would you like to do in here, Rio?
I'm just gonna start obnoxiously clapping. Walking towards him. Just bravo.
Start with a slow clap.
So excellent.
Ah, thank you, sir of House blah blah blah.
It's a pleasure to meet the hunter.
I believe I knew your
Man of
father
the
quite
hour.
well. The elder Sir blah blah blah.
He was much esteemed and a good hunter himself.
Yes, he was. As I always said, the blah blah blahs are great huntsmen. And he rolls up around and everybody kind of cheers and a goblet is passed your way as people celebrate the hunt. Oh, what brings you to my domain? Unfortunately, you missed the last hunt. Or caught the tail end of it, I hope. But it was quite a rousing one.
Seemed like it. I'm sad I was so late. I actually came hoping to follow in my father's footsteps and become an esteemed hunter like him.
I see. So, a hunt with a wager, perhaps? Or one that you just come along with and learn? You see a glint in his eye as he sees the thought of this wager hunt. Few apparently challenge him.
Ah, a wager. Such a fun thing. Been seeming like the party is all about wagers. What did you have in mind then?
I see. You clue in very quickly. Along with the Gaston thing, the other person that this guy really reminds me of is, if you remember looking through Mage Hand Press's Valda's Spire of Secrets, the party bro,
Party paladin.
party paladin. This guy is, you don't even have to check for this guy's alignment. He doesn't really have one. He is obsessed with the revelry. This guy is pure party hunt mode.
He doesn't have one.
He's not aligned with anybody right now. He doesn't give a shit right now. But you could maybe get some respect from the guy and earn a little bit. I see. How about we chase the secret that will undo the revel? That would be exciting.
Let's.
So as you're agreeing, a toast is passed around, and Ovren raises a glass and says, "Excellent, to the hunt!" And he toasts you, and the lodge fades away. So you've now publicly challenged him to the wager hunt, offering to chase the secret that will undo the revel. Ovren accepts gleefully. And then as it fades, you find yourselves out in the forest. He places something symbolic on the ground, this glowing ribbon, and whispers, "It flees now. Catch it before I do, or let the secret stay buried beneath the song." And he howls with delight and disappears into the shadows. So you now have an objective. You have to reach and claim this symbolic secret before Ovren does, or reveal it through kind of an understanding. You need 3 successes before you fail twice. And you have some skill options. You can choose a mix of perception, athletics, occultism, insight, or performance to do the hunt. Or if you've got something fancy that you come up with on your own, I'll craft a little skill challenge around it.
Okay. Do we have all of our possessions?
You do. Yep, you have everything that was yours when you came in here.
I have a couple different things.
Okay.
One, I would like to does this forest seem like massive? Like now that I'm in it,
This
like
is an
grew
endless
exponentially?
forest. Yep, you shifted out of the lodge and you are now in an endless forest. You feel like you could walk out of here and a path would appear to you to return you to the masquerade, but this is his domain.
Okay. I would like to set up a signaling snare.
Okay.
So I have a subtle snare used for hunting or tracking. It can be piled in sandstone or earth and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But basically, when a creature enters a square, the signaling snare goes off and does it actually do anything to trap the creature?
Signaling snare should just alert you.
Yeah, it's just going to alert me. So I'm first going to set the trap.
Okay.
And then from the trap, I will use the Tanglefoot extruder, and I think it has rope. So I can basically shoot somebody with a net. I think that's how this works.
Sick.
So you have to have the Tanglefoot rope pouch with it. That there's an ammo thing.
So we just have the launcher, not
So the extruder, you can attach a Tanglefoot bag to the extruder.
Oh, I need the bag. Okay, never mind. Thought we had that. Okay.
Let me see
Then
1 second.
instead,
So it is like the Tanglefoot bag is the old version. It's a it's really just a glue bomb. There is an arsenal here though as you're preparing to leave, and you could buy one for 3 gold.
Buying one for 3 gold. -3. 3 gold. Remove coins. Removed.
So you've got your Tanglefoot bag now, and you're gonna set it up on the gun to trigger when the alarm goes off.
I'm going to be by the trap.
Okay.
And this will be my first attempt, I guess. If I get 3, you said 3 successes.
You need 3 successes before 2 failures, and this is a little bit different of one. So I'm gonna include some interesting stuff. But you're basically gonna try to trap this dude as he goes past.
Yep.
So I need either a survival or a sense of motive with him, like a perception, to try to figure out where he's gonna go with this thing going on. So a perception check would be pretty spot on, trying to figure out like where he's moving for, or moving through this way. Okay.
Ooh. I think it's 21 in total.
Okay, you've got a good vibe on where he's gonna go. Like you've got a good idea on what his path is gonna be as you predict kind of where he's going, what he wants that secret to be, and where it's gonna go. It's a fair chase. He let it go, but he's a very, very good hunter, and you kind of got an idea of what trail he's gonna follow. So you set your stuff up and wait.
Yep.
And then the Tanglefoot bag. Consume, turns into a net. Yeah. He comes roaring through exactly where you expect him to be. The alarm snare goes off. You pull the trigger. The net flies out, and he tumbles and rolls. So that's going to be we're going to make a 3-point clock for this. Hunt success. That is 1 success for you there. And we're also going to change the hunt failure clock because you've tied him up now. He needs to succeed. You need to fail 3 times on other checks before he beats you. So you bought yourself an extra check.
Sweet. I'm gonna jump down, 3-point land from my spot. I'm just gonna look at him. I guess the hunt really is on, and then I'll just activate
Clever
my expert overdrive, and you'll just hear the whine, and then I'll sprint as fast as I can off.
All right, athletics check for chasing it down. He goes, clever bastard, and breaks out of the rope and starts chasing after you.
Athletics. Oh. No. Yeah. 19.
19 is exactly what you needed. Oh my god.
Oh.
You sprint, leap, crawl through the ever-shifting grove just a little faster than our Avren as he is right on your tail. And you sense Avren shifting. You glance over your shoulder and he's right behind you, growing larger, hungrier. Shadows begin to pulse around him. And I need you to make a will saving throw. That's right. No brain, just hunt. He is Gaston.
Yep.
14, I think. Yeah.
That is going to be a failure. You can rewrite fate if you want to.
Sure. Make it Mimic.
Yes, please.
I don't want to fail.
We want to have you succeed. Better.
26.
You feel your own fear and failure kind of manifesting in the shadows, hunting you as you run through this place. But with your success, you push through and you get a +1 status bonus to your next check.
Sweet. Oh, I'm also.
So there's still performance to, dramatically flourish and maybe distract hunters or draw the secret to you. You could do occultism to try to identify the nature of the secret, or just perception to try to track it, or survival to try to hunt it down. Make sure you check off
Perception,
your
nature, survival, and what else?
perception, occultism, performance,
Occultism.
survival.
I'll do that. Make it mythic. And I will do occultism. And I get a +1.
Mm-hmm.
And +1. Okay. Oh, natural 20.
Oh,
Hey,
dang.
let's go.
It is a 29.
You manage to capture the ribbon as he's hot on your tail, but as it ducks down and tries to go under a branch, you deftly reach out and snag it as he plants face first into the dirt. And like with the critical success, you absolutely leave him just completely embarrassed at your skill in the hunt.
Nice.
He
Okay.
with that too, he brushes himself off, and you find yourself immediately back in the tavern, that lodge setting, holding this ribbon as he walks over and grabs a tray full of mugs of ale and brings them back. Not only are you a seasoned hunter like your father, the senior sir of house blah blah blah, but you have proven yourself to be even a keenly better hunter than myself. You outsmarted me as well. Friends, this is truly a hunter for the ages. And everybody grabs a mug and cheers to sir of house blah 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 as you hold this ribbon that kind of shifts in your hands. And the secret revealed to you is it turns into this kind of half-rotted mask. Its edges buried, that seemed like it was maybe stuck in the roots. You're holding onto it, and you see this vision of it buried underneath the tree, shaped like a spiral, cracked down the center and fused with strands of golden vines. You flip it over, and the interior is not hollow, but it's carved with text. A confession etched in a fading face script that you're able to read. It says, "I could not bear to be seen, so I made myself a role, and when it became real, I forgot how to leave it." As you touch it, you receive this vision, silent and slow, of a figure, unmasked, grieving, and human, standing before a crowd of fae, trying to speak, and they're ignored, mocked, and laughed at. And in shame, they place this porcelain mask over their face. The crowd cheers, and the mask smiles, and the smile never stops. You have this moment of realization that this is the play time when Laruvian ceased to be a person and became the host. And they were never meant to lead the masquerade forever. They were not the founder, but the first guest, a mortal who sought to preserve joy and hide pain, but was lost to the role themselves. And it seems to you now that you see this vision and think about the ritual with Bernard's bones and how some of the magic here seems to be fading a little bit. That it might not be that Laruvian is trying to bind Dunscape, but is looking for a source of more permanent power, not to place the masquerade at some new home, but to protect Laruvian from being unmasked ever again. You breathe for a moment, and suddenly Avran slaps you on the back, like nearly spilling drink. The revelry-obsessed man leans in close. I respect your hunt, sir of House blah blah blah. You seem to be the type of person I'd like to be allied with. You have my vote in the final spiral. I will follow you. and face whatever hunts the future brings us. You have shifted the alliance of Ovrin, the Smiling Hound, in favor of the party.
Let's go.
That's cool.
Dope. I will speak a royal truth then.
Ooh. Ooh.
Ooh.
And I will say the court has many different aspects, but primarily three: the hunters, the prey, and the likes of us. Those who wish more than just of that of a hunt or to be preyed upon. I'm honored to have you as allies.
Okay. I dig it. You bear the secret and they all follow you and respect your word as royal truth. I'm going to add a boon of on the final spiral, the last dance. As you complete the final spiral, you're going to gain a +2 bonus to any influence actions. So anything you're using to influence any courtier during the final spiral, you get a +2 status bonus to it from your decree.
Sweet.
So if there's any last holdouts and you need to push an allegiance somewhere, you gain that bonus of +2 by influencing this one time. You get this as a one-time bonus.
Cool.
Amazing. Fantastic from Rio. Succeeded in the hunt. Absolutely conquered Ovrin. Amazing. Okay. We forgot to have Viola go to somebody again. Damn it. You guys are doing such awesome courtier stuff. I forgot to have Viola go to somebody. So who do we want Viola to pair with next round? Let's have Viola go with just Cypher at the top of the round next round.
Yes, Cypher has been getting hit with hardships.
Viola will go help Cypher out for their round, and in doing so, we're not going to do any checks, but because of Rio's amazingness, go ahead and roll a D30 for me, and I'm going to give you a secret that Viola passes to you on her way to Cypher. Up one or down one, since 11's already been taken.
You're muted.
Do you want to go up one or down one?
Sorry, I forgot that thing was on. Should I re-roll or just one pick like 13 or 12?
13 or 12.
Let's go 13. Or sorry, no, not 13.
Sorry, 12.
12
10.
or 10.
12 or 10.
10.
You're going to go 10. Ooh, okay. I like 10.
I know numbers.
You hear she kind of Viola passes you and slips you a note as she stumbles into you and prepares to kind of help you out for the next phase, and says that Sillet has been playing backwards tunes again. I think he's trying to summon something. That Sillet may be acting out of fear and instinct, and I need to take this call, so give me just a hot second.
I need to summon something. Sillet is one of the ones that we've heard thus far as part of the court, isn't it? I feel like I know that name.
I don't.
I don't remember.
Ben said it's one of the
masked court.
I think so. Or I'm just misremembering.
I don't fucking know. I'm so lost. There's so many people to remember.
I know.
And all of their court shit is so overlapping in my head.
Sorry, wifey's traveling. Just wanted to make sure everything was good.
Ben,
yes.
Sillet, is that a name that we've heard?
It is.
I feel like it's part of the masked court, isn't it?
Sillet's apprentice was who you found in the cave.
Right.
And you know that
they were part of the masked court, or were they?
Sillet was part of the court of mask. Yep.
Person?
Sillet of the Splintered Tune is the lead musician of the court, and holds a position in the court of masks.
And you said they've been playing music or playing backwards?
Sillet has been playing backwards tunes again. I think he's trying to summon something.
I don't understand what that means. Okay.
And Sillet, like the apprentice was acting out of fear and instinct, and Sillet may be acting the same way. Speaking in music and playing things backwards, could be aware that something's going on. Maybe worth a visit.
Okay. Does she know where they are? Because I was on my way to go find that moth lady, but
Sillet is probably in the orchestral chamber, just given the name. But
okay.
So that was Viola bumping into you to help you out on the next round and giving you a little bit of a hint. And we're gonna go to Erin. Where's the muse going now?
She is going to, well, in her search for looking for the most important people, she is going to instinctively go to where she saw Rio go, because he automatically seems like, oh, he's going to start floating with the important people. He looks important. He floated over to the snobby court. She's going to go that way.
Okay. I need you to make a will saving throw.
Oh. Any bonuses?
Nope.
All right.
You got chosen this round because starting in phase 2,
23.
the lines and pathways between the different platforms shift and move back into each other, and you find yourself almost turned around and lost. But with your will save, you manage to stay on track, and you end up exactly where you wanted to. Erlen's snooty court.
And what do I find there?
So Erlen, of the Gilded Thorn, is someone that this ornate mask. He's hosting these salons right now, talking to lesser dignitaries, trying to tell them that they should definitely come join the side of Laruvian. And you take one look at these people and they seem nearly mask fallen. Some of these are just supremely unimportant people filling the background, and Erlen is just kind of keeping up appearances.
Okay.
But as the conversations go, Erlen passes it off to somebody else and comes up to you as you walk in, looking at it, or looking at the place. I see the Muse of Sorrows has graced my presence. 3 to 4, actually 4 of your friends in such a short time. I find it interesting that you're all focused on me as soon as you arrive. You kind of watch and see like the shifting lines in his faces. Seems it's the most interesting to me because that leaves me to think that I am at the most crucial impasse. I have a feeling that my vote will be the one that this hinges on.
She's going to kind of, so he came up to her.
Yes, absolutely.
So she, obviously, the direction she was going, the way that she was facing, it was not him. But he brings himself into the way of her path. And she's going to kind of like, sort of have like a moment where she like you just got in my way, kind of like, oh, I was going somewhere, and
Oh, it's not
so,
you,
like, she
darling.
just-
It's the things that the mask does. Trust me, I've seen enough people wear similar masks, although Unspoken Sorrows is one that has not been worn ever. I know that it was made for you. I know that standing here with me, you can see the emotions, the memories, the things that have me concerned. I'll have you know this, the only thing I'm concerned with is ending up on the right side, one that escalates me, that rises me above this minor station amongst the Court of Masks and usurps someone like Vestral, who's had their hand in that of the host for far too long. Vestral is one not to be trusted.
she's going to kind of tilt her head, like she hadn't really looked at him, like genuinely cared to pay that attention to him until he starts talking about that. And a thought occurs to her that with the mask and as this role, she can witness a silent memory or suppressed emotion reflected in another mask. Yeah. And so she is going to really all of a sudden look at him and observe the reflection that she potentially sees in his mask as he mentions his intentions and him stating how she's observing and can obviously see the emotion and the intents. Like, so she, right? It's like on cue. Immediately her attention hones in on his reflection.
He takes you. Erlen scoops you up in a dance as the music crescendos and lets you lock eyes with him as he whisks you around the dance floor, and the entire court grows silent. All of the different courtesans that are looking, the courtiers that are watching this dance, who seem to think that the magic had gone out of this place as they become mask-fallen, sinking into the masks that have claimed their personalities and their lives, a breath of life as the two of you dance across the floor. And he opens to let you see that maybe he has been observing for a long time. The Gilded Thorn is that because he's shielded himself in briars to ensure no one gets too close, because he knows far too much and is too valuable to everybody to be let out of their sight, but never enough to be risen to a place where he thinks he belongs. And during this, you hear echoes of history and things that he's seen. And it seems that this person may have even been around when the masquerade was founded. From before, you see a strange echo, and the words crystallize in your mind. There are two queens in the Mirror Lake, but they both think that they're alone. Continues to dance, and as the song crescendos to the end, he leans down and whispers the other truth to you rather than letting the mask reflect it. I saw Inura relight a candle that had already gone out. What truth did she bring back? And he steps back and bows to you gracefully as the dance ends, leaving you with those two truths.
She will bow deeply, sort of at the waist, like with acknowledgement of not the transaction, more like the gift that she has now been bestowed. Like how, like, to be, to graciously accept the, what's the term here? What's the term, like, where someone's like just very giving, very giving?
Yeah.
He has been very willing to just give this information to her for some reason. And it feels like it goes beyond the mask's ability. Like, he very too easily let her know this and let her see that. So she just shows consideration for that. She will make sure that she bows lower than he did. Her head will go lower than his to show that acknowledgement in that respect. Especially because she has that feeling that he is much older, much more ancient than she had originally suspected. More important than she suspected as well. Kind of assumed he was just a conflated fae of sorts, but gives him that acknowledgement and then continues on to the next room.
As you're leaving, the last benefit of this interaction with the last benefit of this interaction with Erlen comes to light as your mask begins to cause you to leave faint trails of stardust wherever you step. The nobles of the chorus view you as an omen and they begin to approach you unprompted with strange riddles and fears. The first one doing so as you're leaving his court walks up to you and says, "Masks don't just hide the truth, they rewrite it. Keep yours on too long and you'll forget what's underneath." And as you walk out with that ominous comment, I think that's a solid point to end today's session with 10 minutes left and Sarah coming next week. So again, I will wrap up all of the different rumors you guys have heard, but you've heard Laruvian's mask cannot be removed because it's not a mask at all anymore. There are 2 queens in the Mirror Lake, but they both think they're alone. Some of the guests aren't guests at all. They're watchers from beyond. The Prince of Threst never chose a bride, but they say the choice was made for him. I saw Urana relight a candle that had already gone out. What truth did she bring back? Sillet has been playing songs backwards again. I think he's trying to summon something. One guest arrived without a mask. They're still dancing, but now the mask dances with them. Masks don't just hide truth, they rewrite it. Keep yours on for too long and you'll forget what's underneath. And the last 2, the Grove remembers Bernard. It blooms differently where he bled, and the host's smile is painted because they forgot how to make their own. And we've already allied Ovren, the Smiling Hound, with the party when it comes time for the final spiral. It appears that Erilyn is somebody that is of great interest, a very ambitious person whose vote could sway the outcome of the final spiral. But what this final spiral is exactly, what Laruvian has up their sleeve and what they're planning, as well as the allegiances of the rest of the Court of Masks, people you haven't met yet, Sir Velian the Glass Veil, Lady Acrulia, the Blooming Widow, people like Countess Irina, Candlemind. All those people are waiting for us to discover next time. Hopefully we'll be here next week. We may have some people out for Easter. We are trying to plan to play. We're going to see what families are doing. And if we can be here, we will. Otherwise, if we miss Easter, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Until that time, we love you all. Thanks for coming to hang out with us tonight. And we appreciate you. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye, friends.